Okay, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you, Douglas?
Doing great, thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. It's nice to have
My
you here.
Thank you for having me.
So, you are quite an accomplished playwright, it looks like. Olivier Award winning. So, I'm assuming that's Laurence
That
Olivier.
is Lawrence. That would be like the London version of the Tony Awards, I guess. So
Yeah.
yes, I won that for my play Handbagged a few years ago.
How many plays have you had produced?
Oh God, You- I actually can't count. I've had four on at the National Theatre, and two have transferred into the West End. Over the years. So, that's just one part of what I do. The other part is I chiefly have been a screenwriter, and I've written four movies and Harlots, the Hulu series that ran to three seasons as well. So, and I kind of show run that. So that's my what I've done so far.
What's a harlot?
A harlot is an 18th century word for a courtesan or a hooker, should I use more common parlance.
Oh,
Uh, I think that's the American word. Would that be right to say? It's basically a woman who earns her money selling sex. And harlots was set in the 18th century, but it was kind of about the economics of the London sex trade at the time, which was a huge economy. London was the sex tourism centre of the world, and my story, Harlots, looked at two houses run by women and the women who lived and worked in them, and it was very much about the women. And a kind of 18th century look at some very modern themes. So yeah, very adult. That was my last thing, and it was very, very adult, very kind of edge, sort of hard hitting, as well as being, rich with life and drama. But so this my novel Songlight is a complete departure.
why did you decide then to write a novel? This is your first one, right?
My first novel, yeah, never written in prose before, never even thought to. Um, I
Did something happen in your life that you decided that you were just going to suddenly write a novel? I mean, did something spark
well,
this?
yeah, two things happened. One of which was I knew I wanted to write this story about these two telepathic girls. I've had this story knocking around for literally decades, and really wanted to write it for so long. And I started writing it as a screenplay. A screenwriter friend of mine was trying to draw the story out of me and said, "Well, come on, let's see if it works." And I started writing it as a screenplay, got to the end of the first scene and thought, I just can't do it. This is world building. This is I don't know what they're wearing. I don't know what this place looks like. I don't know. And I can't describe it all in screenplay action. So I thought I've got to go back to the drawing board really. And I began to write a first person narrative from the inside out of my main character, looking at her world through her eyes. And at first I thought, well, this is just going to be like a sort of prose thing. And then I got into it and I began to love it. And I thought, no, this is actually a novel. This is actually a book. And I just threw myself into it. Then the second thing that happened was lockdown, and all of the theatre work that I had disappeared overnight. Um, and I found myself with that great luxury of time that I haven't had for many, many years to write a story of completely my own making. And that's how Songlight began. It kind of came out of the novel was the only way that I could write this story.
You weren't able to write it as a screenplay, or you didn't want to, or
No, I could now,
You could
having
now.
written it as a book. I could now.
Okay. Well, I've had people on who have gone both directions. In other words, people who started out writing novels and then they switched to writing screenplays and vice versa. I don't know, because one is the economy of words and the other way is you have to explain everything. And you might run out of words, actually.
Yeah, I think I've done it the easier way. I think it's harder, because what I've found is I've gone from a very, very distilled form where you have to say everything in as few words as possible, where everybody's always asking you to cut, where you are trying, your whole job really is to get into a scene as late as possible and out of it as early as possible, to a form which is expansive. And my editors, all they keep saying to me is, write more, fill in the detail. What's she thinking here? What's she feeling? What does this look like? Draw the picture more fully. And that's been a real revelation. That's been really wonderful. And I think it probably is easier. I think I'm very, very lucky to have the skills that I've built up as a screenwriter and as a dramatist. I love writing dialogue. I can write really tight action. And I know how how a really rigorous plot works. So all of these skills, and I think visually, so all of these skills that I've built up over decades, have come to play in this novel, and I've just loved it. I've absolutely loved it.
Is there a difference to write a screenplay that would be for television or for film versus the stage?
Yes, there is. There is. It's really all about the character and the word on the stage, and what people say, and the dialogue. I think the language in theatre makes the hairs stand up on the back of your neck. You just listen to every single word that people say, and it's about what characters do in the moment, and you tend to have very long scenes and scenes of scale in the theatre. Film is about, I don't know, to me it's painting with light, and it's much more literal than the theatre. I think there's lots of differences, that I think they're very, very, very different. And there's some stories that I just think that's a play, and there's some stories I think that's a film, and you kind of get to know under your skin which is which. This story, it came to me as a book.
Interesting. So the story is called, or the book is called Songlight. Give us a quick synopsis of it, if you would.
Okay, this is a story set far, far in the future, and it's a future in which the human population is far smaller than it is now. It's about a girl called Elsa Crane who lives in a little fishing village, and she's the kind of breadwinner for her family. She's 18. She earns her money fishing, and she has an ability called Songlight, which is a kind of telepathy, and it is in her society. It is prescribed. It's persecuted. It's regarded as a very dangerous thing. Her society is a kind of dictatorship. And she makes friends with a girl who lives in the capital city far away, who also has this ability, and they are able to meet in their minds, although they've never met in person. And through their friendship, they try to keep each other safe, and ultimately they try to save each other's lives. So the friendship between Elsa and Nightingale, who lives in the city, is kind of really the spine to the book, and around that there is romance and intrigue and adventure, and all the things that you want when from a young adult book.
It says that this is in development for TV. Is this going to be Netflix or BBC?
We've worked on the screenplays, we've written the screenplays, and we haven't wanted to take it to market until the book has been published. until the book is out and with its audience, and you know, gaining. We think taking it to market too soon would be a mistake. I think we're not going to hurry, and we're going to wait. But we are now that the book is out. I think we will make our moment, and yes, I think it would work really well on a big streamer.
Would this be a multi-part series? It says that this was a trilogy. Did you write the entire trilogy at one time?
No, I wrote the first book and kind of knew the shape of the second book. I've now written the second book, kind of working out the shape of the third book, and I will write that this winter, and that will come. The second book comes out in a year, and the third book comes out in 2 years. So it's a big project. It does feel like doing, you know, seasons of TV. I've done 3 seasons of Harlots, 3 books of Songlight, and that feels like a really good beginning, middle, and end.
This sounds like it would be a good Netflix sort of series rather than a play.
It's not a play.
Yeah, you couldn't get this all in 2 hours, I don't think. No.
No, I don't think it's a play. I think it requires. It's an epic.
Yeah.
No, it's an epic.
Bit too much there. Okay. Anything else you want to add before we wrap it up? Anything you want to tell us? How's the first book? You said the first book has been released.
The first book's been released, and to my great delight, it's already on. It's the best-selling children's and YA book here in the UK currently, and it's on the bestseller, best new release list already in the US. It's doing really well, and I'm delighted. I'm delighted to say, and you know, my fingers are crossed that it will reach its audience, and you know, that people will get as wrapped up in this adventure as I have writing it.
Well, I think on that we're going to wind this down. Thank you so much for coming on the show. The last question: do you have a website that you want to give out?
Do you know what? I am not on social media at all, astonishingly. And I know that's really weird in this day and age, but I think if I was on any kind of social media, I just would never get anything written. So anyone who wants to get hold of me can get hold of me through HarperCollins in the US and through Faber in the UK. Okay.
The book is available on Amazon, I assume?
The book is available on Amazon and at a good bookshop near you.
In a good bookshop. Okay. Well, Moira, thanks so much for coming on. It was nice meeting you and chatting with you. Best of luck.
Thank you.